Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhagavatam Bites. Today I have new reading partners. Some might say improved. Because they're very learned, but they may not talk as much. So we're on Canto 4, Chapter 17, Text 8, I believe. I'm sure I'm going to get into trouble if we're not. Text 8, I'm going with that. The chapter is entitled Maharaj Prithu Becomes Angry at the Earth. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 8. Sutta Goswami continued, when Vidura became inspired to hear of the activities of Lord Krishna in his various incarnations, Maitreya, also being inspired and being very pleased with Vidura, began to praise him. Then Maitreya spoke as follows. Purport. Talk of Krishna Katha or topics about Lord Krishna or his incarnations is spiritually so inspiring that the reciter and the hearer are never exhausted. That is the nature of spiritual talks. We have actually seen that one can never become satiated by hearing the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya. Both of them are devotees, and the more Vidura inquires, the more Maitreya is encouraged to speak. A symptom of spiritual talks is that no one feels tired. Thus, upon hearing the questions of Vidura, the great sage Maitreya did not feel disgusted, but rather felt encouraged to speak at greater length. This is interesting. It's interesting, you may have experienced this. This is definitely a fact that when you take to this process, things start to connect, or you think it's a coincidence, or I heard this, or this one said that. This one isn't so deep because, but anyway, I don't mean the purport, what I'm going to say. Because when I was dressing Sri Radha Mulida today at the Bhakti Center, we have one gentleman, very sweet man, who comes, to be fair, every day. He comes every day during japa and stays until the morning class, because here the morning class is before deity greetings and Guru Puja. So he'll stay until morning class, deity greetings, and he goes. Oh my goodness, and one of his symptoms hearing is he falls asleep as soon as the class starts, and he's quite older in age and he comes very early and he snores. Today was exceptionally loud, like exceptionally loud snoring. I was dressing, so I'm in the temple room behind the curtains, and I was, oh my god, and the class was going on, and it was it was interesting. So I'm just picking up on that, because here it's saying, that a symptom of spiritual talks is that no one feels tired. This isn't obviously a dig at the speaker in any way, because the class was very good, as always. Hold on, jeepers. But I just thought that was interesting, and it's interesting because generally, this is like a joke amongst devotees, they sleep during japa, sleep during morning class, they'll wake during breakfast, but it's like, that's interesting. And I guess if we look at it deeper, there was a point that was made here. Prabhupada says both of them are devotees. So, disclaimer, because I don't need to get sued or anything. I'm not saying someone isn't a devotee when I'm making these points, but I thought that was that both of them are devotees, in the sense that what is the devotee of the Lord? they want to hear about Krishna. They want to hear about God. There is a natural, spontaneous, sincere desire to hear. And, we may be like that in the beginning, and then it can become, if we don't keep the process, I believe, alive and exciting, in whatever way that may be for us, then we can become like almost on autopilot. And I woke up, I chimed around, I did some reading, I did this, I did that. It can become like that. And one thing I tend to stress with devotees, especially in my mentorship group, is it's a bit like relationship counseling. Krishna consciousness is like that. Why? Because Krishna consciousness means I'm trying to have a relationship with you, Krishna. And so sometimes the relationship goes really well and you're happy and you're both like, oh, I'm really feeling the rasa here, the taste. I'm really feeling enthusiastic and enlivened. And sometimes relationships, as we know, there may be some friction, there may be some dryness. It's like maybe just taking each other for granted. And when we become on autopilot, we take Krishna for granted. So I was just reminded of that. It's for us to remain as devotees, to remain as a devotee, which means tuned in or plugged in to Krishna. I want to make this relationship work with you. So what do I need to do? Maybe I need to make it a point to really nicely cook for you. I kind of like just put something together and please accept it and eat it. Or maybe I should make it a point to read about you more, hear about you more, check my association, like that, just to keep the relationship buoyant. What do you think? Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments, because as you know, I do check your comments, okay? All right, text 9. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, at the time King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and brahmanas and declared to be the protector of the citizens, there was a scarcity of food grains. The citizens actually became skinny due to starvation. Therefore, they came before the king and informed him of their real situation. Purport. Information is given herein concerning the selection of the king by the brahmanas. According to the Varnashram system, the brahmanas are considered to be the heads of the society and therefore to be situated in the topmost social position. The Varnashram Dham, the institution of 4 Varnas and 4 ashrams, is very scientifically designed. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Varnashram Dham is not a man-made situation, but is God-made. In this narration, it is clearly indicated that the Brahmanas used to control the royal power. When an evil king like Vena ruled, the Brahmanas would kill him through their Brahminical powers and would select a proper ruler by testing his qualifications. In other words, the Brahmanas, the intelligent men or great sages, would control the monarchical powers. Here we have an indication of how the Brahmanas elected King Prithu to the throne as the protector of the citizens. The citizens, being skinny due to hunger, approached the king and informed him that necessary action should be taken. The structure of the Varnashram Dham was so nice that the Brahmanas would guide the head of state. The head of state would then give protection to the citizens. The Kshatriyas would take charge of protecting the people in general, and under the protection of the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas would protect the cows, produce food grains, and distribute them. Shudras, the working class, would help the higher free classes by manual labor. This is the perfect social system. Ideally, in the ideal world, but stood out for me was, and we did mention this in previous readings, just even recent previous readings, how, and this is not for one any particular country, unfortunately it's prevalent, that you wouldn't get the ruling person's personalities, the governments as it were, thinking, let me seek advice, or at least from a Brahmana class. Because when I said that, I just realized, yes, no, they do have advisors. They do. They have they have spin doctors and they have advisors, but those advisors generally are in the mood of, yeah, you better do this because this will make you look good. No, don't forget to do that. Or this is the general mood that's going on at the moment, so maybe pull back on this, or resolution, or maybe like that. But here we see that the Brahmanas are advising for the betterment of the people, which, if you think about it, is why you are in power, or like in leadership, I should say, rather, in leadership. I saw a really good quote recently. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something along the line of that a good leader is someone who helps others rise as opposed to himself. It was along the lines of that. So a leader is someone who is empowering and ensuring everyone's betterment is looked after, as opposed to, what am I going to get out of this? And we often see when people do leave leadership positions in whatever capacity, government or otherwise, sometimes they're much better off financially. You're like, well, how did that happen? Let's look at what's gone on with the taxes and what everyone else is experiencing. But it's actually quite a good payoff, as we know, even when companies are becoming, unfortunately, like say bankrupt, big companies bankrupt, and your average person loses pensions, they lose money, they lose savings, but they call them, in England anyway, fat cats. The fat cats at the top, they do very well. They may lose their position of CEO and whatever other big titles they may have, but they do very well financially, and then they just quietly go away either to another company or can quite happily retire. Actually, I don't want to get too controversial, and obviously person who would normally tell me to be quiet isn't here, so I better stop myself, because my silent reading partners may not. They might let me just walk that plank and jump off. Okay, let's have a look where we go. This one. Okay. Text 10 and 11. Dear King, just as a tree with a fire burning in the hollow of the trunk gradually dries up, we are drying up due to the fire of hunger in our stomachs. You are the protector of surrendered souls, and you have been appointed to give employment to us. Therefore, we have all come to you for protection. You are not only a king, but the incarnation of God as well. Indeed, you are the king of all kings. You can give us all kinds of occupational engagements. For you are the master of our livelihood. Therefore, O King of all kings, please arrange to satisfy our hunger by the proper distribution of food grains. Please take care of us, lest we soon die for want of food. That's quite dramatic, isn't it? Purport. It is the duty of the king to see that everyone in the social orders, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudra, is fully employed in the state. Just as it is the duty of the Brahmanas to elect a proper king, it is the duty of the king to see that all the Varnas, Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra are fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. It is here indicated that although the people were allowed to perform their duties, they were still unemployed. Although they were not lazy, they still could not produce sufficient food to satisfy their hunger. When the people are perplexed in this way, they should approach the head of government and the president or king should take immediate action to mitigate the distress of the people. Wow. Well, I'm not sure I can say I can relate to any of that occurring in government. Maybe some of you can, I don't know. Wherever you may be watching from, or bygone years. I'm not saying you're really old or anything, but just that's quite revolutionary, almost feels like utopian, which is sad because, as we were saying, it's surely if you're a leader of any kind, even if you're a leader in a sense of in a household, you're the mother or the father, husband or the wife, one cares. I was just having a conversation today, actually, in the morning, one young lady talking about prospective partner and what she would want, and one of the points she brought up was like to provide shelter, to care in that way. It's not just oh yeah, they chant Hare Krishna, yeah, okay, that's great. It's a little bit, I want a bit more than that. Why not? So in whatever capacity that we are a leader, yeah, we should be caring for those we are leading. So yeah, it's interesting. And here Prabhupada is saying that the duty of the king is to see that everyone in the social orders, not just like say the Brahmanas or the Kshatriyas, because the Kshatriyas are my soldiers and I need to look after them. It's not like that. But the Vaishyas, the Sudras, everyone should be cared for, should be employed, it says, should have sufficient food, should feel sheltered. This was in days gone by, this was normal and expected. So they've gone to King Prithu and they've laid this before him and said, we the citizens, we're kind of hungry. We're actually, and they're not just like hungry, yeah, we want this type of food or that, but they're starving, they're suffering, and they've taken their anxieties and their, fears or whatever to the king, to the leader, to King Prithu. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to see what happens and what King Prithu says and does. But thank you very much, everyone. We stopped at, this is more for me than you because I need to remember when I edit this, but we stopped at text 11. 10 and 11 were together. So thank you very much. Hopefully my reading partner will be back soon. And although we have nothing against these silent reading partners that are sitting here with me. And you can't see Prabhupada actually, but he's here as well. He's here. You can't see Prabhupada on the top. We have, several levels of reading partners. Thank you everyone that tunes in regularly to listen and also to comment. Thank you, very much appreciated, and see you soon. Hare Krishna.